Is there one thing that you can say, well, that's really typical for, well, that feeling that you have, or what, maybe a movie or music?
I think there's so much, I suppose, music that kind of, the big music that I think both myself and Stuart were very influenced by is the Velvet Underground. I think they're a band that really touched us when we were kind of at the right time, like the right age when we were younger, and a band that has stuck with us. And I think that we've always felt there's an element of their music in our music that comes through us, that I think they're the one band that we've always felt very close to in some way. And I think with films, there's so much culture that we both like were involved in from growing up in the late 60s and the 70s. But, so there's so many, but things like a film by a director called Ken Loach called Kes. I don't know if you know this film. But it's basically about school children, a boy who's at school, and it's very similar to how our childhood was. So that's kind of a reference for us both, I think.
Okay. Well, then you were in the Asphalt Ribbons.
Yeah.
Was it any good, to be honest?
I think the intent was good and the ideas could be good, but we were just trying to fit in. We were trying to make records the way you're supposed to make records. We basically saved a bit of money from doing normal day jobs to go to a studio, make a demo, send it to a record company and hopefully get a record deal. And it just didn't really work. We did get a record deal with a small company, but we were just trying too hard. And I think by the beginning of the 90s, we moved to London and we just stopped trying, really. We decided we'd make our own record. Instead of giving a studio money to make a demo, we'd just use that money to buy some equipment, and we recorded it in our house. 4 of the bands were living together. And we just made a record ourselves, pressed it ourselves, made the sleeves, and it was a success of sorts. I mean, there was only 500 copies and we managed to sell them all ourselves, basically, but it got some attention and a spark of something began to happen, and that was purely because we just forgot trying to achieve something. We just did it ourselves.
So that's maybe then because of all your heart and soul was in it, maybe? Yeah,
I think so, and I think that's where we began to understand our music and what we wanted. I think before then we had an idea, but we didn't really know how to get it out. And also with that was finding the people, becoming the 6 people that were Tindersticks that made it special at that time. They kind of all fell into place at the same time. So before then, like in Nottingham, there was 2 drummers in Nottingham and they played with basically every band because there wasn't anybody else. There was two guys and they just fit into whatever they did, really. So, and they obviously, I mean, the guy that played drums for us had a massive kit and he would basically play the whole kit. I mean, he was a very nice person, a very nice drummer, but it wasn't really what we wanted, and we didn't know that because that was the only drummer we knew. I mean, that's all we saw.
So it was around the same period.